I really enjoyed digging deeper into soft skills this week. Being a family and consumer science teacher, this is something that is a big focus of a lot of our classes in the FACS department. And so it was interesting for me, though, to self-reflect and to look at how much I'm actually incorporating these soft skills into my class and how I'm designing assignments and even discussions in order to support student development in these soft skills. Now, when I was looking at the skills that are least developed among my students, I really had trouble kind of narrowing it down. I teach at a school that's very diverse. We're at least 80% of our students are on free or reduced lunch. We have a very diverse population, over 50% Hispanic, and the other 50% are a variety of other ethnicities. And so one thing that I really feel that my students struggle with is communication. And part of that is a language barrier. And so I feel that these students still need to learn these soft skills because they are still going to be entering our workforce. And they need to be able to communicate clearly, whether that be with a customer, whether that be with a coworker. So I really feel like that's one thing that I can help my students with, is to learn how to communicate their ideas in a way that helps stimulate a conversation. And that could lead to critical thinking. It could lead to different collaborations as well as creativity. So that's one thing that I really wanted to work on with my students. And that mostly relates to the relationship skills. But I feel that it could even extend, once students feel that they can communicate clearly with others, it could extend into asking why and even what if, to work with others in a more collaborative setting. Because communication and collaboration are tied so closely together. If a student feels like they can't communicate, they're not likely to try to collaborate with a group. And so with that in mind, I've thought about my next unit and something that I can do to help support the communication and collaboration skills of my students. And my next unit is about birth defects. And often in the past, I've just had students individually create a poster about a birth defect. And it's very factual. What's the cause of it? What are the signs and symptoms? How is it treated? And yes, those things are important to know about these birth defects. In fact, they're part of the standards. But I want to take this a step further, and I want my students to create a plan about how they could help a person with a specific birth defect. For example, Down syndrome is one of the birth defects that we discuss in the class, and we have several students in our school that have Down syndrome. So I want to work with the special ed department as well, but create an opportunity for students to make a plan and then implement that plan. So these ideas that I've come with that are pretty rough right now, and I need to work out the details more, come from those 30 tips to teach soft skills, from the 30 tips to cultivate soft skills in your students article, is to help students practice taking on different roles, so assigning them roles within a group, and then allowing them to exercise the opportunity to speak, listen, write, organize, and lead. So there would be a portion, well, first they'd have to work together, so they're speaking and listening to each other, but coming up with a plan and making a presentation of that plan, so organizing their thoughts and their presentation, and then also leading our class in implementing this plan. We don't have all of the birth defects represented at our school that are discussed in the standards, but as many as are, I want to actually have the students implement their plan within our school. So this then also goes with assess learning through interactive evaluations that demand real-world demonstrations of learning. So the students, as part of their expectations for the assignment, would be expected to demonstrate their plan by interacting with students in our special ed department. So as far as assessing it, though, on my end, obviously I'd be observing them, but in doing that, I will create a rubric. So while I'm observing them, I can be grading those things that they are proficient at, or that they're demonstrating mastery in, and making note of those things maybe where they could improve. Also incorporating a peer review portion, and so that they could give each other feedback and help each other learn from the experience. And then also a self-assessment where they can reflect on, really, even if their plan wasn't typed perfectly, or their presentation didn't go quite the way they expected, or even their plan wasn't carried out quite the way they wanted, it still offers them an opportunity to self-reflect and tell me what they learned from the experience and what they're taking away from it. So assessing it in those ways together, I would then give them that grade that we have to put in gradebook. But I feel that that's one of the best ways to assess it, because it really is something that I need to take into account, not just the logistics of the assignment, but really the deeper, higher levels of soft skills that these students are reaching. And I feel that these assessments are the best way to do that.